And I think that right nestled in here is the story of Bartimaeus, the blind guy. We see right before the triumphant entry, we see one more life impacted. Because Jesus said he didn't come to be served, he came to serve. So of course the last thing that Mark shows is him helping somebody that really can't advance him. He just said the kingdom is about helping people that can't help you necessarily, serving those, if you're the leader, serving those. And the very next thing is we see that instant. So then they reached Jericho, and as Jesus and his disciples left town, a large crowd followed him. A blind beggar named Bartimaeus, son of Timaeus, was sitting beside the road. When Bartimaeus heard that Jesus of Nazareth was nearby, he began to shout, "Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me." "Be quiet," many of the people yelled at him, but he only shouted louder, "Son of David, have mercy on me." I love this. I love this, first of all, because it's a teaching. He's asking for mercy. The implication when we ask for mercy is that we recognize we need mercy. Folks, it's important that right off the bat we realize that wherever we're at in our life, it is important for us to realize it's okay not to be okay. It's okay for that. It's okay for us to see where we're at. The problem with the disciples was at that point, they were all jostling for position. Nobody wanted to show weakness, and that was a problem with them. That was something that Jesus was trying to correct. We see in this man somebody who recognizes that he needs help. And when he's calling out Son of David, he's given a title that is saying, "I know who you are. You're the Christ. You're the one. You're it." He's making the same kind of profession that Peter made, but Peter had been in that group, like that big 12 group, had been following Jesus around the whole time and was working on his faith and barely being able to understand. Finally, 3 years later, "You're the Christ." Well, right here, this is a guy on the side of the road and goes, boom, "I know who you are." What an amazing leap of faith. Amazing leap of faith. But it's okay to not be okay, because guess what? That's how we are as believers. When we say, if you confess with your mouth Jesus is Lord, believe in your heart God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. Romans 10:9. When we say you will be saved, that implies that you need to be saved. Folks, our stepping off into Christianity is recognizing we don't got it all figured out. The amazing thing is we have a God who loves us and says, "Don't worry, come to me. Come to me, all you who are you who labor, heavily laden, I'll give you rest." When Jesus heard him, he stopped and said, "Tell him to come here." So they called the blind man. "Cheer up," they said. "Come on, he's calling you." Bartimaeus threw aside his cloak, jumped up, and came to Jesus. Imagine this. Just want to give you this image. You realize it's a blind man that just threw off everything and started running headlong toward Jesus Christ.
So he's naked?
Well, his jacket. He doesn't want anything to slow him down. Think about that. I mean, think about it. There's so many things he could trip on. There's people everywhere. But he's still... I think this is a beautiful picture. "What do you want from me?" Jesus asked. "My rabbi," he says. My rabboni or something. And what's great is a lot of times people honor Jesus with the title rabbi. "Hey, great teacher," is what they say a lot of times. "Great teacher. You're a good teacher." But that's not what he says. He says, "My teacher." He comes in and he associates. "My rabbi," the blind man said, "I want to see." And Jesus said to him, "Go, for your faith has healed you." Instantly the man could see, and he followed Jesus down the road. Your faith has healed you. What has been beautiful about this whole story is that we see exactly what we're talking about. We're talking about God who comes to earth, who comes to save and heal that is lost and broken. It's not about us serving. It's upside down. It's this upside down thing that he was just talking about. So that is what we're supposed to be seeing. That is what's supposed to be happening. And I got to tell you, when I say love thy neighbor, it isn't a New Testament only teaching. Jesus, when he says love thy neighbor, is quoting the Old Testament. The The promise to Abraham was that the son, the descendants even of Abraham would be a blessing to the world. Jesus isn't coming in and saying this whole new thing, hey, I want you to go love your neighbor. That's not what it's not a new thing. It's how his people were supposed to be. When we look at the sin of Jonah, Jonah's sin was that he didn't want to go tell somebody that he didn't like about the gospel. Because he knew God would forgive him. You haven't read Jonah? That's what it is. It's a short one, only a few pages. But that's it. So now imagine Jesus is walking into Jerusalem where his temple is. His temple should have been operating under the love thy neighbor.